All right, we are live here. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Chat Live. I am on with Mr. Colin Knox, someone who I have been very fortunate to have been, consider a friend as of recently. We've been working together a lot. And now, Colin, I'm going to turn it over to you for a minute. I'm going to go ahead
Yeah,
and, post this out, get the stream running. Why don't you introduce yourself? Give a background for those who might not know you.
sure. So my name's Colin Knox. I've been out of running an MSP for 6 years now, I think. No, all kidding aside, lived in the MSP market for a long time now. Worked for a couple MSPs, had founded and operated my own, grew that up to a $4 million shop and exited that business in 2016. But before we exited, I had founded a company called Passportal, where we built the market's first MSP-centric privileged password management solution. Built and ran that company up to a channel of a couple thousand partners, and exited that to SolarWinds, where I took on a post as the VP of Community for a while, and then stepped out. And now we're doing something new with Gradient. We're trying to build an innovative technology platform that really just at the end of the day helps MSPs make better decisions, because throughout their days and lives, day in, day out, they're making decisions nonstop. And a lot of it's just based on best guesses. So if we can start to eliminate some of that guessing game and make life easier for you guys, then that's what it's all about for us.
Great. Thanks for the background. And sorry if you felt like you were talking to a wall there for a minute. Had to get everything, posted. Now, now you've been on all these streaming shows, all the webcasts, you know what it's like.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. What's the espresso you're drinking there today?
Oh, I got some Nespresso. I have my
Nice.
little machine that I press the button like a million times throughout the day. Actually, this cup, this is from my grandmother. So my grandmother, both my grandparents were Cuban immigrants, so they took their coffee very seriously.
Yeah,
So
nice.
I fortunately get to think of them every day when I drink my.
It's a nice cup. It's a
Thank you,
pretty cup.
thank you.
I just had my flamingo mug today.
Just you're very on brand. I love it. I love it. Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about Gradient. Before here,
Sure.
you're talking about you're getting ready for launch. You're gearing up. Like, what's going on with your team over there? You
Yeah,
recently
there's
grown a bit too, right?
we have, yeah. So we've got 11 people now. So definitely not a huge tech company by any means, but no, we're staffing up and getting to crunch time here. So we launch on June 1st to the market. And yeah, right now it's all about making sure we've done everything we need to do to help MSPs be successful with the solutions and in their business. So staffing up on partner success, making sure that everything an MSP needs to go through our solution, our platform, and get kind of brought into it is as automated, seamless, and intuitive as possible. Making sure that all of the integrations are locked down and working properly. We're going so we opened up a call for beta. I want to say it was just over a month ago, and we've had an overwhelming response on that. So we're kicking off a beta here in the next week with a bunch of them. We did some early access with a few close partners who are on our partner advisory council, and yeah, right now it's crunch time for us, and we're having a lot of fun trying to craft some marketing and some things that hopefully is unlike things that MSPs haven't seen before, because I think they deserve some better theatrics. They deserve some fresh takes. So
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm very excited. As I was saying before the show, I think you guys have been doing a really good job building your audience, and from a marketing perspective, watching everything you've been doing, I admire it a lot. So I commend you
thanks.
there. But let's go back. I've been following your LinkedIn posts for the past couple of weeks. You've had some really awesome content about
Thanks.
when you were running your MSP and through
Yeah.
acquisitions. Could you maybe talk about one or two of those stories that you were sharing recently?
Yeah, we I find there's a lot of unspoken history that there's this guys that any entrepreneur that's had an exit or seen some level of success, it's just like, oh, everything was like rainbows and butterflies for them, right? And I remember when I was building my first business that all of the shitstorm of things that went wrong all the time. And I was like, am I just sucking at this or is this normal? So I just, let's paint the picture of some of the things that people have gone through and hopefully help solve people from taking some of the same missteps or taking too long to make a decision that they know they should make now. And which one first? Let's see. So the first MSP I tried to start was with a business partner. And I was very foolish in choosing that person as a business partner because we'd never really worked together. Right. And as it turned out, that person had a crap work ethic, had zero interest in actually putting in any effort, and arguably had lackluster technical skills too. So we had started to build a business. I think, we were in the 1 year-ish that we ran the company together, we were at almost $500,000 in revenue pretty quickly, but I was doing most of the service delivery. We hired on, a couple people to help with that, and he was to be doing business development. And his idea of business development was 4-hour lunches with his buddies every day. So I kind of sat on that for a long time, right? Because you're thinking, well, we've built up something. This is paying my livelihood. There's a lot of risk in breaking off and doing stuff, but the best decision I made there was to just rip that Band-Aid off, kind of tell them I'm leaving, let them know what's going on. And in the end, the right stuff's going to play out, right? So the clients all ended up following me because we were the ones delivering the service and the experience. And his business fizzled out, and we kind of went on to build Excel into what we did. What's kind of funny was the story I posted before that one is that as I was building that initial business or kind of getting it off the ground, like planning it and everything, I was working at an MSP. And so the president and one of the owners of that company had found out that I was doing this. I think somebody had stumbled across a website that had my name on the Whois or something. And so he fired me in a blaze of glory. I was their service manager. And what's funny is full circle comes around is when I was leaving the daily operations of Excel to do Passportal, I needed to hire a new president to take over. And so we went out and approached him, and I ended up hiring the person that fired me. Now, kind of funny thing is I ended up firing him too, but not because of poor performance. It's because we had sold the business, and after a while, and he wasn't needed to maintain and continue on with the company. But yeah, I mean, it's all these things that you can't regret the decisions that you make because you've already made them, and you have to deal with what that is, right? And so it's how can you learn from those decisions and the outcomes of those decisions to help inform what you do in the future. So
yeah, something I hear in your stories and that I admire about you, Colin, something that we try to strive for at Scout is this idea of just doing the right thing over and over again, and being relentless and working very hard. And that's part of our core company values, and something like every team meeting and stuff, we're talking about that. And I see that in your businesses and through the exits and the hard work and let's go do it again, but still just serving the MSP community and doing what's right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're not passionate about what you're doing or who you're doing it for, then there's a big problem there, right? And it can't be that you're passionate about making money someday or how much somebody's going to pay you. Like that's the least relevant part of it. It's believing in what you're driving, believing in what you're doing. And, I think with what we've stumbled on at Gradient as the veil gets pulled off more and more over the coming weeks here, we're super passionate about it. Like there's not a member on our team that isn't so excited to have every single MSP that joins the system to know how we're helping their business, how we're improving, their potential for growth and stuff. So, we've got a super passionate team here. I'm super excited and super lucky to be working with everybody that's decided to join. But yeah, I mean, for me, it hits home, right? I had the struggles of running an MSP day in and day out, and all the pains that come with, and a lot of the celebrations that come with. But I think that intimate understanding of what it feels like and what it felt like is truly what we're helping and hoping to solve for these guys. Try to make some more MSP heroes out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Something, the theme of Coffee Chat Live is it's the anti-webinar. We get on for just 15 minutes because nobody can do it. You and I have done our webinars and they've been great.
Yeah.
So besides those ones, nobody wants in our webinar. So we're going to wrap up here soon. But something I did want to do with you is we did it for the first time last week. It was really fun. Overrated, underrated. So I named topics, mostly loosely related to cyber and MSPs, some other things that I just throw in there, current events. You tell me if it's overrated or underrated and why.
Sure.
You ready for this? Are you ready?
I'll do my best.
All right, so let's start off. Something that, the doom and gloom has been coming. They've been saying for 20 years that we're going to run out of addresses. IPv6, overrated, underrated?
You know what? I think it's overrated by now. I mean, like it's so cyclical, right? Like we're going to run out of addresses at a certain point. Sure. I think everything else is IPv6 compliant and capable to go. But like you said, this has been 20 years. I still don't understand enough about IPv6. I'll be honest. I was lackluster at figuring out IPv4 good enough. But I mean, yeah, like for every few addresses we're adding, there's a whole bunch that are falling out the back end and being recycled back into the public domain. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with overrated right now.
Okay. All right, let's move into some current events. This is totally me pushing on my favorite things. So I'm a huge Sixers fan, as some people know. But the NBA, the National Basketball Association, overrated, underrated?
Well, it's a conflicting one for me. I loved basketball growing up, and there's a I don't know if it's a myth or myth busted that basketball was founded by a Canadian. So I'd like to say that it's underrated. I haven't followed it enough over recent years as I'd like, and partially that's because we have all but one team. Although it was a championship team finally.
Very good team.
I was happy to watch that go through, but I think we need more NBA teams in Canada. To be honest, I mean, they did a big tour across Canada a couple of years ago, and we were fortunate to go sit courtside for a game of Warriors against the Raptors, which was awesome. But yeah,
I should be asking you about hockey though, right?
You should have.
All right, so let's go. You've had a history working on MSP, Passportal, everything. So there's some new stuff. Passwordless technology. Well, how are you feeling about this? Overrated, underrated?
I'll say it's underrated right now. It's a few years ago I'd have said overrated because the amount of, I wouldn't say investment, but endorsement and involvement that needs for passwordless technology to take off years ago would have been, something that you'd figure is so far out. But now that we're seeing the likes of Microsoft and Apple and Google's all get in behind this, that's what it's going to take to make it go. And, I lived in a realm where we were protecting and managing an undisclosed wealth of credentials on the internet. And yeah, I think time needs to come for those to be, obsolete and gone. Now, what is the passwordless technology going to be? I've got, a colleague and friend who's building a solution that is based on behavioral heuristics of how users work. And so it's authentication by behavior and a whole bunch of things like that. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it comes because I'll be honest, I hate passwords now too. Like, especially doing a new startup and you're creating accounts for everybody across all these different solutions and everything else. It's like, wow. So we've tried to manage that down as much as possible. But yeah, I look forward to a world of passwordless technology taking over.
Yeah, me too. I feel like every password I write, I just have to assume that's going to end up in the dark web in like 4 years. So,
right.
Co-managed IT, you've had a history of working at MSP. You've been through the M&A process. You've seen going up market. What do you think of co-managed IT?
So underrated. You guys, if you are not doing co-managed IT, get off the couch and start looking at it. That's one of the ways we scaled. Like we were adding about $1 million ARR to our MSP a year. That and security are the two horses that we rode to that, final, right? Like we played the game. We went in, we said, hey, and at the time we did not have a big team, but you go in and say, look, we're going to monitor your server infrastructure. We're going to manage your colo facility. We're going to take over all the systems administration. And to the business, you can hire the back end, the lower cost help desk type people that go desk to desk and do the desk side support and stuff. And then as we got bigger, there were times that we would take on the desk side support, the help desk or remote support desk that way, and they would manage the infrastructure. But holy smokes, the bigger companies that have IT departments and the savings that they can have through outsourcing, the budget that they have available for outsourcing, you guys are missing out on a gravy train if you're not doing that. And if you're not following Bob Kopich, I don't know if they're calling him the godfather or grandfather of comids now, but get on it, follow and connect with that guy on LinkedIn, listen to some of his stuff, watch what he's doing, because he's nailed it.
That's great. We're running out of time, so I'm going to skip down to my last thing here. If you bought a lot of Dogecoin a couple years ago, you're probably a millionaire today. I think the price hit is it 1 cent or 10 cents or something? Just yesterday, doubled overnight. So yeah. Dogecoin, overrated, underrated?
On the short term, underrated. On the long term, overrated. I think it's going to have a lot of fluctuation. It doesn't have the stability of Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff. But overall right now, if you're looking for a short-term gain, that could be one that you I take no liability for any advice, but
no, this is not investment
I've got
advice.
A colleague that just pulled 50K out off of 1 month's worth of rides. So I think he's pretty happy.
Yeah. I mean, that, and they had the Coinbase IPO, $64 billion market cap for Coinbase. I mean,
it's becoming a much more real thing for a lot more people. It's kind of interesting to watch. So we'll see where Dogecoin gets to, or where it collapses to. Who knows?
Yeah, one day I'll save the story for another day, but I'll tell you the story of all the Bitcoins that I have in wallets that I don't know the passwords to. So well that's another story for another day. But
another day,
we'll get there. All right. Well, thank you, Colin. So glad to have you. It's been awesome. Really enjoyed it as always. Any final closing words for anyone watching the stream?
No, I mean, I love it. Thanks for having me. If you guys haven't heard of Gradient, go to a quick checkout of meetgradient.com. There's a few Easter eggs throughout the website, and maybe if you phone our 1-800 number, you might find another one. So check it out, and we look forward to showing you guys what we've got in less than 2 months now.